Yeah, I think everybody can see my presentation. I just want,
Yes, it's visible.
yeah, fine. So I'll go ahead and we'll be talking about design thinking today. Design thinking, what do we mean, understand by design thinking, and uh, what does it mean in a more of a Indian agriculture scenario, and how we used the design thinking tools to design and develop new products. And basically what we are trying to do is we are trying to solve problems, and this is what the whole I would say the forte of design thinking is, that you find out a problem and then you start working on it. And this is what exactly we do at design at Sickle Innovations. We started as a design studio. We always wanted to be a design studio where we could solve a lot of the problems using the design processes, which I'm going to talk about. So let's proceed. I will just briefly explain. We are into horticulture mechanization. We largely work on harvesting domain, crop protection domain, and also in the post-harvesting domain, where we have developed solutions like drying solution, grading and sorting solution, which briefly I'll be talking about towards the end of the presentation. Uh, So how we are going to take it is, I'll talk about design thinking, the very basic of design thinking. I'm not going to get into too much of theory of it. I'll try to make it as alive as possible, so that I can even take up some examples from our own portfolio products. And I'll also talk about design process, which is, I think, very important. A 5-step design process, very simple but very effective to come out with the new products. And I'll share a little bit while I'll be presenting the design process. I'll be taking a liberty to share a lot of stories of our own products which we developed, and how we developed those products. Uh, so let's proceed with the one, the basic theory of HCD, what we call human centered design approach, or the conventional thought process, otherwise, which we have. And this is something which my own real life experience. When I did my engineering, my major project was developing an ornithopter. It was a kind of a robot which flies, something which mimics a bird. And then what we did is, and this project was whole started with this intuition to can we make something like birds. And then I remember I finished my project, and the last slide of my project presentation was where we can use this product and applications. So I think after studying the human centered design approach, or the design thinking, which we say largely, my whole design, the thought process has changed. And how it has changed is, now I don't start with the idea. We start with the problem. And this is the basic difference with the conventional thought process and human centered design approach. So you don't start with an idea. When you start with an idea, it is at a top down approach. So you're already on the top. You have a product. For example, you're working in an IT company. You know how to do some certain jobs. You have the ability or skills to develop a lot of apps. So then you try to find out, okay, where I can use my skills, and then I can start making some apps for agriculture or some any other field as well. But when you're starting with the problem, so you don't consider your own skill also. So your whole domain in which you can work, or you can, maybe if you do not have a skill, you can hire those skills. So your domain the horizon increases a lot. So you have much more larger exposure. This is the basic difference. In a conventional thinking, when we come out with a problem solution, I would say not a problem solution, a product, it is generally a vitamin. And whereas whatever you solve with the HCD, it is going to be a painkiller. And if it is a painkiller, you have to do much lesser work to sell your products because you're solving a problem. So in even medical store, painkillers sell like anything. Vitamin is something optional. You buy it, it is good. If you don't buy it, still you can live. Generally, in a conventional thought process, in a design process, you add something to the system. In a typical human-centered design approach, you avoid. And what do we mean about it is I'll describe. We were doing a project during my studies on designing a blind cane for the cane for the blinds. And if we were doing, a normal design study, so we could have, just come out with some solution. Whereas what we did was we tried to speak to a lot of different stakeholders, people who were blind, people who were treating them, their family members, and ultimately we came out with a solution. The solution was so different and so simple, and the solution was that if certain amount of people donate their eyes, so this problem will never exist. So it might feel counterintuitive, but if you see, this is one solution which can actually solve this problem of, rather than designing a cane for the blinds, if you design a campaign which is having a more effectiveness of people coming out and donating their eyes, so this problem can be solved. So this is what is the strength of this whole design process, which I'll be talking about. And one classic example I give here is Angry Birds. So Angry Birds was a conventional thought product, and WhatsApp, if you know the story, how it was developed, the person who was going to gym, it was underground, and he wanted to send a message to his wife, and basically he solved a problem. And he solved a problem, and you see where the WhatsApp is today. And I'm sure many of you might have played the Angry Birds in the beginning when the smartphones were coming, and it does not even exist now. So this is what we are going to see now. I think I've made myself clear what do we understand by human-centered design approach. We are trying to solve a problem. Another example which I'm going to give here is a classic example is of mobile phones. So we started with the pagers. We went to the cordless, and so this is something, a product which has come purely based on the availability of technology. So as the technology was available in other sectors, maybe lithium-ion batteries were used in somewhere else, so they could be used in the phones. So then you could have a larger processors. You could do, larger. You can do much more things. And I mean, from the last 20 years, if you've seen the evolution of the phones, you might have seen that, we had all sort of phones which were like, which could flip, which could slide, we could do a lot of things. And those were the things which were not driven by the demand of the consumer. They were purely based on the availability or, the possibility of the technology. And now ultimately we settled on the bar phones. It is a pure bar, nothing else. So whatever we have done in between was not required, and that is why it does not exist today. I mean, even today also we are having this phones which can be bent, so folding phones, right? So I don't know how much do we need it, and we need to see with the time whether they are going to stay or not. So this is what example I wanted to give you, and I will give you the contrast. I'm sure a lot of you are from the agriculture background, and I assume many of you have the rural exposure also. So there is one product called Chotukul. It was a very famous product in the rural sector. It was developed with this pure human-centered design approach, where people went to the villages, found out what exactly, how people are storing their vegetables or milk in a small panwala shop, and what exactly they needed. So they came out with this beautiful product which can be charged over some time, and it retains that cooling for a few hours. And so this was a problem solved. The product which came out with the approach where the people were trying to solve a problem. So I understand that not all of us start with this problem solving attitude, but we should always drill down, and we should go deep, and we should find out that exact if we are actually solving a problem or not. If we are just going to create a problem, it is not going to be very successful. Now, having said that, I'll just go in a little bit of a theory. It is very important for us to know how this term design thinking coined in. So it was brought in by Tim Brown. I'm sure if you have heard about this IDEO studio. So they were the pioneers in this work of the design thinking area. So what the definition by the Tim Brown himself says is, I'll read word by word. Design thinking is a human-centered approach to innovation that draws from the designer's toolkit to integrate the needs of people, the possibility of technology, and the requirements of business success. It's very simple. It's very simple if you read it. But only thing is, if you try to see it around in your daily, everyday products, your own products or your services, you'll be able to get a lot of feedback on exactly if you're doing things right way or not. For example, whatever we are doing, it should be desirable. It should be feasible. Technology wise, it should be feasible. We should be able to make it, and it should be viable from the business point of view. I'll give you a few examples to elaborate on this particular point. For example, if you talk about the time machines. So time machines is something desirable. Yes, people want to go back to their time or in the future. Everybody wants to go, right? Is it feasible with the technology? I don't think so. Even today, technology is not feasible. And viability wise, maybe there are super rich people who will be able to pay for changing their time. So this is one example which can tell you that definitely something like time machine we should not be attempting. I'll give you another example of flying cars. So flying cars has been from last 50 years, people have been trying to develop flying cars, a car which can fly and which can also where you can drive it on the road. So desirability wise, yes, it is desired. People would want to have something like this. Feasibility wise is also it is feasible. From last 20 years, there have been so many models where people have come out with this cars which fly. But viability wise, it becomes so expensive, so much so that you can buy the best jet airplane, a private jet airplane, and you can buy the best car, and still you'll have money left for the amount of which you're going to buy a flying car. So you see, again, the problem comes there. So this is what I wanted to explain. And now I will try to, analyze our own agriculture sector. And let's see, what all challenges we can see in this when we are trying to apply design thinking on any of the problem of the agriculture. And I think these are the problems. These are some of the problems which keep coming. So if we start designing a product, so the user side, people want to have it, something with the low unit economics, with the less cost, with the less operational cost, because there are small farms. And not only small farms, we have another problem: fragmented land. So even if you have one hectare, that 1 hectare is also split into 2 different fields. So whatever product we develop generally, so we have this problem of it should be low cost, and it should be easy to carry. We should be able to carry it from one place to another place, easy to store. So these are the a very generic problem which we face from the user point of view, desire point of view. Second is feasibility, and the feasibility wise, people do demand a lot of made in India products, and which is very much possible. Almost everything we can make in India now. Another thing which we hit upon is the seasonality. So if we start building a product, we always see that there is a seasonality involved in the agriculture. So it is only going to be there for 2 or 3 months, and after that we'll have to do something else. So whatever technology we are going to use, let's say if we are going to use a battery, so a battery operated product, if it is used only for 3 months and the rest of the 9 months it is going to be stationary, it is going to be a problem. So this is something we have to find out some other solution to solve it. And viability point of view, if I see now, when I talk about viability, viability is not only for a business or a startup or somebody who is doing this project, and it's also about the viability for the user. So what is the unit economics for the farmer who's going to use our product? They don't have credit facilities available. So these are the problems. Then what we do is the break even. They always ask like whatever money they are putting in an equipment, so they should be able to break even within first year itself. Then only it is a good investment for them. So this is what I wanted to talk more in the theory side of. So I'm sure I'll just repeat it once again so that it stays in your mind. It is something which you can apply anywhere in any project. If you are going to make it commercial product, desirability, there should be somebody who needs this product. Feasibility, technology wise, it should be feasible to make something, whatever you're trying to attempt. And viability point of view, it should make sense, business sense, viability for you as well as for the person who's going to buy this product. Should we take the questions in the last, or maybe we can have a pause here, and if somebody wants to ask more question, design thinking, then only I can process on the, I can move ahead in the design process. It's a little incentive. Megha? Anyways, so let's proceed. So what I do is I'll proceed with this, and we'll take up the questions in the last if you have any. So now what we have talked a lot so far is about design thinking, whole philosophy, what we start looking at it when we start looking at a problem. But how do we solve this problem? So solving any problem using a design process or a design thinking process, it requires to follow a 5-step design process, which we have it here. It is a very simple design process, but if we follow it religiously, it can give you wonderful results. So I'll just going to talk about a little bit of theory, and then I'll get into the real life problem. I'll give you an example also. The first process in this 5-step design process is empathy. So in empathy, what we do is we be a user, or we go to the user, we find out what exactly they need. We speak to a lot of other stakeholders. We every other stakeholder which are involved in this the activity which you are trying to solve, or the problem you are trying to solve. We see it from all the sides, and then we collect all this data. So in this first stage, we are not trying to.
Nitin, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But in the chat box, we are getting some some requests from the participants to translate it in Hindi as well. I'm not asking you to do the entire session in Hindi, but just for few of the words you use or few of the sentences, after that you can translate it in Hindi as well. That would be a great help for us.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you, Nitin.
तो ये बहुत ही एक इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है जो डिजाइन थिंकिंग का. अगर आपको किसी को नहीं समझ में आया तो मैं ये समझाना चाहूंगा. और इसमें क्या होता है कि डिजाइन थिंकिंग एक इस तरह का टूल है कि जिससे हम कोई प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. वो प्रॉब्लम आपका प्रोडक्ट हो सकता है. लेट्स से कि अगर मैं आप एक एग्जांपल आगे देने वाला हूं कि कॉटन को कैसे हार्वेस्ट किया जाए प्लांट से, ये एक प्रॉब्लम है. इस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के लिए हम इस तरह के टूल्स को यूज करते हैं. कोई भी प्रॉब्लम आप उठा सकते हो, उसको यूज करने के लिए इस टूल को यूज किया जा सकता है. ये एक तरीके की विचारधारा है. इसको अगर आप फॉलो करेंगे, एक स्टेप बाय स्टेप को जाएंगे, इसको सॉल्व करेंगे, स्टेप बाय स्टेप को फॉलो करेंगे, तो आपको रिजल्ट्स थोड़े से अच्छे मिल सकते हैं. रादर देन कि हम अगर एक ही प्रॉब्लम को बस लेके बैठे रहें, उसके पे सर फोड़ते रहें कि इसका क्या सोल्यूशन निकल सकता है. उसके हम अगर स्प्लिट कर लें अलग अलग स्टेप्स के अंदर और उसको एक एक स्टेप्स को लेके चले, तो अच्छे रिजल्ट्स लेके आ सकते हैं. तो इसके लिए क्या करते हैं, हम किसी भी प्रॉब्लम को 3 तरीके से देखते हैं. तो पहला है डिजायरेबिलिटी. डिजायरेबिलिटी का मतलब है कि लोगों की जरूरत क्या है, जरूरत को क्या आप समझ पाए, अगर नहीं समझ पाए हैं तो उसको कैसे समझा जा सकता है, वो हम अगली नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में देखेंगे। दूसरा पॉइंट है फिजिबिलिटी, कि टेक्नोलॉजी आज जो हमारे हाथ में टेक्नोलॉजी है उससे हम कुछ बना सकते हैं या नहीं बना सकते हैं, या फिर मेरे पास मेरी खुद की फैक्ट्री में या मेरे सर्कल के अंदर वैसी टेक्नोलॉजी मेरे पास अवेलेबल है। अगर मैं मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर हूँ, अगर मेरे को कंप्यूटर का कुछ काम मिल रहा है तो वो मैं कर पाऊंगा या मैं किसी और को हायर करके कर पाऊंगा, आज के दिन में वो हो भी सकता है कि नहीं हो सकता, ये जरूरी है जानना। और तीसरी बात ये जाननी बहुत जरूरी है कि उस पर हम कोई एक बिजनेस खड़ा भी कर सकते हैं कि नहीं कर सकते। बिजनेस खड़ा करने के लिए जानना इसलिए जरूरी है कि इसीलिए हम स्केल कर पाते हैं। स्केल अगर नहीं कर सकते हैं तो वो एक इन्वेंशन लैब में पड़ी हुई इन्वेंशन ही रह जाती है। इन्वेंशन और इनोवेशन में एक ही डिफरेंस होता है कि जिस चीज को आप कमर्शियली सक्सेसफुल बना सकते हो वो आपकी इनोवेशन है। तो जब मैं इनोवेशन का नाम ले रहा हूं तो उसमें हमें उसका बिजनेस एंगल भी देखना पड़ता है। तो वायबिलिटी इसलिए जाननी जरूरी है। तो हम कोई भी प्रॉब्लम जब लेते हैं उसको तीन तरीके से जरूर देखते हैं कि ये तीनों तरीके से हम उसको क्या सही समझ से पा रहे हैं। अगर हम उसको सही समझ पा रहे हैं तभी हम उसको आगे प्रोसीड करते हैं। और आगे का जो मैं बताने वाला हूँ वो एक स्टेप बाय स्टेप प्रोसेस है कि उसको कैसे एक्चुअल में करते हैं। ये तो एक बड़ी ओवरव्यू होगा, उसका थियरी होगी। So I'll now continue in English, and then in the last I'll give you, I'll translate in English or Hindi as well.
That's perfect. That's perfect, Nathan. Thank you so much.
So now we are talking about 5-step process. It's a very simple process. It looks very, very, very simple, but I can tell you, I have spent 2 years in India's best institute reading only on these 5 steps. Getting in detail in 5 steps. It is a very powerful tool. I'll talk about the problem first. The empathy. So in empathy, what we do is we try to see problem from every perspective. We try to, let's say if we are trying to solve a problem of cotton harvesting. So what I'll do is I'll go to the labor who harvests the cotton. I'll also talk about the farmer. The problem the farmer will be facing will be very different from the problem what labor will be facing. Farmer is more about worried about the viability, and the labor is more worried about his hands which are being pricked with these balls. Then I'll also talk about the agent who collects those cotton and sells it to the ginning mill. He's more worried about कि उसमें trash ज़्यादा ना आ जाए, उसके there should not be more trash in the cotton. And then the ginning machine also, I'll go to the ginning facilities. We'll find out, okay, what we can do. What are the problems you are facing? Then they, over the period, they have told us that, the cotton which comes in, it has this white polypropylene threads, because farmers collect it in the fertilizer bags, and then they have to employ really highly expensive machinery to segregate those threads, because if that thread goes into the spinning, the whole lot is cancelled for whatever it is being produced later on. So you see that it is not very easy to say. Empathy is something on which we spend almost 25 to 30% of our time in just finding out, okay, how deep we can go into the problem. Second step is define. We define the problem. What does it mean by defining? So when we define, we bring everything into numbers. For example, if I'm designing a cotton harvesting machine, so labor says ki it should be lightweight. So this is what need. Okay, but how lightweight? Now I'll take the data from human factors science. I'll take the data. What is the easy ergonomic weight which you can lift on a hand? What kind of vibrations maximum you can be exposed to? Then people will say that it should have this much capacity. It should be at least twice the capacity of a labor. So how much a labor is harvesting? So you see, I'll put all my numbers into this. So I'll associate every single need with the number. I'll say if I'm designing a mobile, it should be light. How light? 200 grams. 200 grams is a number which I have selected based on the market. So this is what we do. We quantify our problem. We quantify every single thing which we have so far understood from the empathy, the first exercise. So after this second step, we write it down. So that becomes our problem given. Okay, so it becomes our need, the list of needs. So these are the things which you have to solve. We have to give it to the client or the user. Now the third part is the solution, the actual ideation. So this is where the real fun comes. You see that so far we have not spoken about idea at all. We are just talking about problem. We're just talking about problem. Now we get out the solution, and we get solution for every single of those problems which we have identified. Every single aspect. We do a lot of ideation. There are a lot of techniques in this. If you want to get in, it is sea. It is an ocean of various techniques. It is something where we should be actually having a good maybe a 2 hours class on how to do ideation. There are very powerful tools here which we can use it, and then we prototype the product which we have come out from the ideation, and then we test it in the field. And if at all, if there is some problem, we go back to our ideation, and then we again prototype it, again test it. So this is one cycle which keeps on coming. And in between, what happens is we also keep getting new inputs from the users, and that changes the definition of the problem which we have defined in the second step. So for anybody, it looks very, it's a common sense that, okay, anybody will do this 5-step process only, but generally it does not happen. We try to get into ideation first, which is something which should not be desired. So I'll give you an example. So while giving this example, I'll speak in Hindi, so it will be easier for others to follow also. तो ये 5 स्टेप का एक प्रोसेस है. इस प्रोसेस को अगर हम फॉलो कर सकते हैं तो हमारा डिजाइन काफी इजी हो जाता है. और एक ये सिस्टमेटिक अप्रोच है इनोवेशन की, जो कि ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी ने रात को उठ के बना दी. ये बहुत ही रिसर्च तरीके से बनाई गई एक मेथोडोलॉजी है. इसको यूज करके काफी अच्छे सोल्यूशन निकले हैं हमारे. इनफैक्ट हमारे बहुत सारे प्रोडक्ट्स हमने इसी प्रोसेस को फॉलो करके बनाए हैं. तो इसमें क्या होता है, पहले स्टेप में हमने एम्पैथी. तो हमने कॉटन पिकिंग की प्रॉब्लम को पिक किया है. फार्मर्स जब कॉटन को हार्वेस्ट करते हैं प्लांट से, तो ये एक प्रॉब्लम मैंने अपने मास्टर्स का मेजर प्रोजेक्ट भी था ये मेरा, जिसपे मैंने 1.5 साल तक काम किया ड्यूरिंग माय मास्टर्स इन प्रोडक्ट डिजाइन. तो इस प्रॉब्लम में हमने क्या किया, हम फील्ड में गए, हमने फार्मर से बात की, हमने जो उन साइंटिस्ट से बात की जो इस पे काम कर रहे थे, हमने उन लोगों से भी बात की जो सीड डेवलप करते थे, माइक्रो सीड, बहुत सारी सीड कंपनी से मिले. हम उनसे पूछा कि ऐसा क्यों है कि आपको 3 बार हार्वेस्ट करनी पड़ती है कॉटन को, आप ऐसा सीड क्यों नहीं बना सकते कि जो एक ही बार में कॉटन आ जाए उस पर सारी, और सारा एक साथ ब्लूम हो जाए और एक ही बार में हार्वेस्ट हो जाए. तो हम इस फर्स्ट स्टेप के अंदर बहुत लोगों से मिलते हैं. हम सिर्फ उनकी सुनते हैं, हम कुछ नहीं उनको बताते हैं, हम कोई आइडिया की बात नहीं करते, हम सिर्फ सुनते हैं, सुनने के लिए जा रहे हैं. तो हम फार्मर के पास भी गए, हम लेबर के पास भी गए, हम एजेंट के पास भी गए, जिनिंग मिल के पास भी गए. हमें बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स पता चली. हमें ये भी पता चला कि अगर जो भारत में जो कॉटन को हार्वेस्ट किया जाता है वो दुनिया की सबसे शुद्ध मतलब कि लो ट्रैश कॉटन होती है, लेकिन वो जब तक जिनिंग तक पहुंचती है वो सबसे गंदी कॉटन हो जाती है. तो प्रॉब्लम जो अगर आप देखोगे, मैं अभी सॉल्व कर रहा था प्रॉब्लम को कॉटन को हार्वेस्ट करने की, लेकिन इसके साथ में एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम एसोसिएटेड है कॉटन को कलेक्ट करने की. यानी कि हम जब कॉटन को कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं उसके बाद में उसको कंटामिनेशन से बचाना है. हमने उसको सीधा जिनिंग मिल तक लेके जाने तक उसके बीच में कहीं कंटामिनेशन नहीं आना चाहिए. जो ह्यूमन हेयर्स होते हैं वो भी उसके अंदर चले जाते हैं, उसको निकालना बहुत मुश्किल होता है. जो अच्छी जिनिंग मिल्स हैं, अरविंद मिल्स, उन्होंने 300 400 लोग अपने वहां पर लगाए हुए होते हैं, एम्प्लॉय किए होते हैं, जो सिर्फ ये बालों को निकालते हैं कॉटन में से जब उस स्पिनिंग में जाने से पहले. तो आप इमेजिन करिए कि कितनी बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है जो हमें तब तक नहीं पता चली थी जब तक हम दूसरे स्टेक होल्डर्स के पास नहीं गए. हम तो अगर सिर्फ सॉल्व करना चाहते हैं कॉटन पिकिंग तो हम फार्मर के पास जाते और हमें सोल्यूशन लेके वापस आ जाते हैं. तो इस पे हमने बहुत टाइम स्पेंड किया. तो हमें पता चला कि ट्रैश जो है वो ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. फिर ये बहुत ही लो डेंसिटी की होती है, इसको स्टोर करना ही मुश्किल है. ये जिनिंग के लिए एक्चुअल में ये इजी हो जाती है अगर अपन उसको, जो हैंड पिक्ड कॉटन होती है. और इंडियन जो जिनिंग फैसिलिटीज हैं उसके अंदर अगर ट्रैश थोड़ा सा ज्यादा हो जाए तो वो हैंडल नहीं कर सकती हैं, वो अलग टाइप की जिनिंग है। तो इसीलिए डिफोलिएंट वगैरह यूज करके, जहाँ पे जैसे अगर यूएस या ऑस्ट्रेलिया में आप देखोगे वहां पर कॉटन कैसे ग्रो करते हैं कि कॉटन को एक ही बार में ग्रो किया, डिफोलिएंट यूज करके प्लांट को खत्म कर देते हैं केमिकल यूज करके, और उसके बाद हार्वेस्ट करके कॉटन को बड़े बड़े मशीनों से, उसमें ट्रैश बहुत ज्यादा होता है। उनकी जिनिंग उस ट्रैश को हैंडल कर सकती है, लेकिन इंडियन जिनिंग उसको हैंडल नहीं कर सकते। अगर हम जिनिंग मिल तक नहीं जाते तो हमें यही नहीं पता चलना था कि हमारी जिनिंग, मतलब कि हमने जो कॉटन हार्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं उसके अंदर ट्रैश नहीं होना चाहिए 8% से ज्यादा। 8% से ज्यादा ट्रैश होगा तो वो जिनिंग नहीं कर पाएंगे। सो दिस इज समथिंग विच वी फाउंड ड्यूरिंग द एम्पैथी फेज, द फर्स्ट फेज। सो यू सी दैट हाउ मच डेप्थ वी हैव गॉन to just make sure that we know every aspect of the problem. Then what we did is we quantified. हमने उनको बोला, वो बोले कि ट्रैश कम होना चाहिए। कितना कम होना चाहिए ये कौन बताएगा? फिर हमने कुछ डेटा उठाया, कुछ उन्हीं से बात की, आप नंबर बताइए हमें कि नंबर कितना होना चाहिए। सो नंबर भी केम आउट 8%। ठीक है। और उसके बाद में फिर एक ये भी नंबर एक निकल के आया कि जब मैकेनिकल हार्वेस्टिंग होती है तो बहुत सारी कॉटन प्लांट पे लगी रह जाती है, जबकि जब मैनुअली कॉटन को पिक करते हैं तो वो पूरी कॉटन पिक हो जाती है। तो ये भी एक एस्पेक्ट था जो हमें नहीं पता था, वो भी हमें पता चला। लेकिन वो कितना होना चाहिए, तो इकोनॉमिक्स से हमें निकल के आया कि ये 2% से ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए मशीन हार्वेस्टिंग में भी। अगर 2% से ज्यादा होगा तो वो हमारे लिए लॉस है। तो ये these are the few things which we found out from various studies. This is how we quantify. This is what our target is now. Now third step is ideation. So ideation में we came out with lot of ideation. One ideation was, why don't we develop a variety rather than developing a harvesting solution? Why don't we develop a variety which does that? Where we have a single bloom. Why we have multiple blooms? 3 blooms. Why are there? Of course, we came out with we came to know about this reason later on. But this was one of the solutions. You see that we were trying to solve a problem of cotton harvesting, and when we started the problem, we were only talking about cotton harvesting, and the solution could be that new variety development rather than making a machine. So this is what is the strength of this design process. देन हम प्रोटाइपिंग में गए। प्रोटाइपिंग में हमने हर एक इंडिविजुअल कॉन्सेप्ट को पहले टेस्ट किया, हार्वेस्ट कैसे करना है, फिर उसको कलेक्ट कैसे करना है, फिर उसको ट्रांसपोर्ट कैसे करना है। ये अलग अलग छोटे छोटे मॉड्यूल्स में हमने उसको टेस्ट किया, और लैब में फिर फील्ड में हमने टेस्ट किया। तो ये पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट हमने इस पे हमने 1.5 साल एकेडमिक में, और हमारी कंपनी इसी से स्टार्ट हुई थी। So we worked on this project collectively for 3 years, and there were a lot of learnings, and we did commercial pilots also with like Arvind Mills. We did commercial pilots, and later on we started working on many other problems. So when we had developed this cotton harvesting machine, then people started coming to us that and saying, can you solve other problems also, like harvesting mangoes, harvesting apples. So one by one those problems started coming, and we started solving. So I'll just show you, and you'll be able to appreciate. I'll not be marketing our product. I'll be purely talking to you about technical aspect, the problem which we were solving. We were not talking about the building a product. We were solving a problem. I'll show you how we did it. Overall, so this is मैं इसको यहीं पे खत्म कर रहा हूँ डिजाइन प्रोसेस को। मैं इसके अंदर बहुत ज्यादा थियरी में नहीं जाना चाहता हूँ, और हमारे पास टाइम भी कम है। मैं चाहूंगा कि बाद में आप क्वेश्चन ज्यादा पूछें तो मैं उसको आंसर कर पाऊंगा आपकी क्वेरीज को। अब मैं अपनी कंपनी के बारे में थोड़ा बोलूंगा। कंपनी के अंदर हमने क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स को उठाया और हमने कैसे सॉल्व किया, और आपको फिर पता चलेगा कि जो अभी तक मैं बता रहा था वो सिर्फ एक लिखित ज्ञान नहीं है, वो लोगों ने प्रैक्टिस में लेके आए हैं उसको यूज करने। सो फॉर अस वी हैव फाउंड आउट इन एग्रीकल्चर वी वर्क ऑन क्रॉप स्पेसिफिक सॉल्यूशन, एंड दिस इज अ प्रॉब्लम वी हैव आइडेंटिफाइड कि आपके पास जेनरिक फ्रूट हार्वेस्टिंग डिवाइसेस हैं। आप गूगल पे सर्च करके देखेंगे, अलीबाबा, दुनिया भर के आपके पास सॉल्यूशन मिलेंगे। क्या आपके पास एप्पल हार्वेस्टिंग मशीन है? क्या आपके पास मैंगो हार्वेस्टिंग मशीन है? अगर आप उसकी एग्रोनॉमी पढ़ेंगे तो एप्पल को हार्वेस्ट करना बहुत अलग है मैंगो को हार्वेस्ट करने से. So we don't have a crop specific solution, and this is what we do. We solve this problem of crop specific solutions. We design for India. When we say design for India, it means we are able to produce the products which gives the break even to the farmer within one first year. तो इसका मतलब ये है कि फार्मर जितना पैसा इन्वेस्ट करेगा उससे उस इक्विपमेंट को यूज करने से उसको जो बेनिफिट मिलने वाला है वो से कम होगा, यानी कि पहले ही साल में उसको अपनी कॉस्ट रिकवर हो जाएगी, उसके बाद में उसके लिए प्रॉफिट है. एंड ऑफ कोर्स मेड इन इंडिया इज समथिंग व्हिच वी हैव सीन दैट एवरीथिंग वी कैन मेक इन इंडिया. इट इज जस्ट दैट assumption that it cannot be made in India. So देखिए अभी मैंगो हार्वेस्टिंग, आप सब लोग एग्रीकल्चर के एक्सपर्ट हैं, मैं इस पे ज्यादा नहीं बोलना चाहूंगा. मैंगो को हार्वेस्ट करने के लिए जब मैंगो को अभी भी हार्वेस्ट किया जाता है तो खींचा जाता है, तो आप ये देखेंगे ऊपर की राइट साइड की इमेज जहां पर एक सैप निकलता है, इट इज एसिड. सो इट burns the skin of mango, and this is exactly the place from where it starts getting rotted. So all your mangoes you will see it will start rotting from the top only, because this is a wound which is created by the sap. So the ideal way of harvesting mango is actually having at least 1 inch of a stalk. Okay, if you have that stalk, so that sap will not come out on the mango, and it will fetch you better price to the farmers. So this is something, the problem was there, problem what people told us was mango harvesting, but what we found out that this is the larger problem. If you solve this problem while solving the mango picker, you'll be able to you don't have to actually work in doing the marketing. And this is the reason this is one of our star products. We have sold more than some 40,000 such products, started from the scratch. You know what it does? It from the bottom you just press a clip or you pull a blade, and it cuts the mango with the stalk, and the mango comes down. Now another problem which we solved after we sold this mango picker, people came out. I mean, this is something which we did not know. We went to Himachal and we found out that harvesting apple is very different. And how you harvest apples is you hold the apple and twist it upside down. That's it. It comes out. There is no blade required. It is as simple. So, but here the solution required was very different. And unlike mango trees, apple trees are not that strong. So person has to climb, and especially in Himachal where the terrain is very steep. So we developed a solution which mimics this motion of twisting. I'll be showcasing that in a video separately in the last. So where I'll be playing a 2-3 minute video where I'll showcase all our products in a working condition. So in this, we have even applied for an international patent on this mechanism, that how we twist the apple and the apple comes down. So you see, this is something which never existed, and we solved it. I mean, here again the problem. First we found out what is the problem and we solved it. Neem harvesting. This was what we did it for one of our one corporate client. So they wanted to have this neem coated urea. So they wanted to harvest this nimoni, जिसको nimoni बोलते हैं, उसको harvest करने की इनकी requirement थी. वो सोचिए कितने सारे नीम होते हैं, तो उसमें कुछ challenges थे कि visibility नहीं होती है और bulk processing करनी पड़ती है, एक ही बार में बहुत सारा harvest करना है. तो उसके लिए हमने एक solution निकाला है, वो भी मैं आपको वीडियो में दिखाऊंगा. मैं आपको सिर्फ प्रॉब्लम्स के बारे में बता रहा हूँ, मैं प्रोडक्ट के बारे में नहीं बताना चाहता हूँ कि प्रॉब्लम्स क्या क्या होती है, उसको हम कैसे सॉल्व करते हैं वो अलग बात. एप्रिकॉट, कारगिल के अंदर बहुत एप्रिकॉट्स होती है, उनको हार्वेस्ट करना भी वही मुश्किल होता है जो नीम के अंदर होता है. तो और ये बहुत वल्नरेबल होती है, नीचे गिरेंगी तो डैमेज हो जाएंगी. वेरी पेरिशेबल बट हाई वैल्यू क्रॉप. पेपर हार्वेस्टिंग, दिस वी डिड इट फॉर टाटा कॉफी. सो ये 30 to 60 फीट तक के टॉल ट्रीज होते हैं, ट्रीज नहीं होते हैं, ट्रीज के ऊपर ये क्लाइंबर होता है जो ऊपर चढ़ जाता है, क्रीपर. तो इसके अंदर पेपर को हार्वेस्ट करना होता है, उसको डैमेज भी ना हो. तो आप सोचिए अब ग्राउंड पे खड़े होके 30 फीट तक कैसे हार्वेस्ट करेंगे. ये एक प्रोडक्ट है जो हमने डेवलप किया है. सॉरी, मैं इसके बारे में ज्यादा बोल नहीं सकता हूँ क्योंकि थोड़ा आईपी इसके ऊपर अभी चल रही है. Seabuckthorn. It is the problem. It was given by DRDO. It is DRDO's institute in Leh. तो वहां पर ले के अंदर एक ये बेरी होती है विच इज वेरी हाई वैल्यू बेरी. इट हैज very high so it is a very high so big source of vitamin C. एंड इसमें बहुत सारे थॉर्न्स होते हैं और इसकी लाइफ भी बहुत कम होती है, तो इसको हार्वेस्ट करना एक अलग चैलेंज था. लेकिन इसको हमने पहले प्रॉब्लम को समझा, उसके बाद में हमने सॉल्व किया. उसको कैसे किया वो भी आपको मैं वीडियो में दिखाऊंगा. So that's it. This is all about design thinking, different kind of problems, and how do we solve those problems using the five step design process. I'll talk briefly about what we do. Basically, we do design a lot of hand tools with which we started our company, where we what exactly we are trying to solve is we are trying to solve the lack of skill. There is a lot of labor, but there is no skilled labor. So generation wise, that skill is not being transferred. So the person who used to harvest cotton 60 kg or 70 kg in a day, the next generation can hardly harvest 30 to 40 kg. So that skill is missing. So what we are providing is that skill. So the casual labor can do that skill job with the use of these tools. This is what we do under this hand tools. Second is grading machines. We do image processing based grading and sorting equipment, where we can analyze fruits characteristics like size, color. We can grade in different groups. These are little expensive machinery, and but the here advantage, the problem which we are trying to solve is these all machinery comes from outside and it is designed for a single crop. What we have solved is we can do multiple commodities. In a single machine can do grading and sorting of 18 different fruits and vegetables. This is what we have sold, and then we also provide R&D services to large corporates using the design thinking principles. We have our own design processes which we have developed over that period. The hand tools, it is an old number, but we have commercialized more than a dozen products, and those products never existed. Remember, we started from the scratch because we worked on the problems, and we are only 3 people in the sales in our whole startup, and we take care of the complete sales. Why we are able to do it is because we are solving problem. We provide painkillers. We don't do it right. Machines we have done. This is one example of the grading machine which we have done. We have sold it to large corporates like PepsiCo, ITC, various IPOs. We have given it to government of Haryana, government of Punjab. These grading machines. R&D services, we have worked with large corporates like Tata Coffee, Murugappa Group, IDMC. We developed India's first indigenous milking machine, Avin Mills. So various products we have done for them wherever we see a challenging problem. Our large this thing has been in harvesting. I'll skip this. This is very important. It is not because I want to talk more about my startup, but you see most of our awards we have won for our innovations. Last year we won top innovative MSME farming sector, National Entrepreneurship Award. You see every year we have won some award for innovation, and the reason why we have won is because I think we follow all our design processes religiously, and I think it is very helpful for any startup who is working in the initial stage of their products to use this design tools. I have not mentioned it here, but there are some good read-ups. Stanford provides a very good read on this design thinking, human-centered design approach, and IDEO. These two, if you just look for 5-step design process by Stanford Design School, you will get it, Design Toolkit. And it's a very good book to read. If you read it, it is a self-explanatory, as I've already told you. It is just that it makes us more disciplined in what we are doing. So I'll stop here with last video which I'll be playing. I'll just take 5 more minutes. सो ये हमारी मैंगो हार्वेस्टिंग डिवाइस है। इसमें ऊपर ब्लेड लगी रहती है, नीचे लीवर रहता है। तो हम नीचे से प्रेस करते हैं तो लीवर मैंगो को स्टॉक के साथ में काट के नीचे ले आता है। और मैंगो को हम ऊपर भी रख सकते हैं, चाहे तो उसको नीचे भी लेके आ सकते हैं। जो हाई वैल्यू फ्रूट्स होते हैं उसमें ये जनरली ज़्यादा यूज होता है। और इसमें हमारा दूसरा टाइप का भी है जिसमें आगे ऊपर ब्लेड भी लगी रहती है, स्टेशनरी ब्लेड। ये हमारा एप्पल पिकर है। इसमें आप देखेंगे नीचे वही लीवर का सिस्टम है, लेकिन ऊपर कोई ब्लेड नहीं है। इसमें 2 रिंग्स लगी हुई हैं और उस रिंग्स के अंदर एप्पल को फंसाया जाता है और एप्पल ट्विस्ट होके नीचे आ जाता है बिना किसी डैमेज के। वो डंडी के साथ ही आता है। तो डंडी के साथ में आने का बेनिफिट ये होता है कि उसकी वैल्यू पूरी रहती है एप्पल की। तो देखिए, इसके लिए हमने पहले पूरा पढ़ा कि क्या लोग कैसे करते हैं, फिर उसको समझ के हमने सॉल्व किया। हम आइडिया लेके नहीं वहां पे गए, हम पहले प्रॉब्लम समझने के लिए गए कि प्रॉब्लम क्या है, उसके बाद में हमने उसको सोल्यूशन निकाला। ये कॉटन, ये बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग प्रॉब्लम का सोल्यूशन है। ओवरऑल हम इसको कमर्शियली बहुत सक्सेसफुल नहीं कर पाए प्रोडक्ट को, लेकिन अगर मैं आपको इसके अंदर इनोवेशन बताऊं तो ये इतना इनोवेटिव प्रोडक्ट है। आपको देख के लग रहा होगा कि शायद पीछे एक वैक्यूम का बैग रखा हुआ है जिसमें वैक्यूम से कॉटन पिक हो रही होगी, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है। इसके आगे एक मैकेनिकल पिकर है, वो उसका काम सिर्फ में कॉटन को प्लांट से अलग करना है। और जो आगे आप जो इस यूजर ने पकड़ा हुआ है व्हाइट कलर का हैंडल, उसके आगे एक ब्लैक कलर का फैन देख रहे होंगे। वो एक छोटा सा फैन है जो कि अपने लैपटॉप्स में या कंप्यूटर्स में भी यूज होता है, बस उतना छोटा सा फैन। वो फैन बजाय कि हम उसको सक करने के, हम उसको कॉटन को पुश कर रहे हैं। उधर से कॉटन पुश होती हुई ऊपर जाती है, लेकिन ऊपर कैसे चढ़ती है उसके लिए भी आपको मैं बताता हूँ। बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग हमने ये सॉल्यूशन निकाला था। तो इसी पाइप के बीच के अंदर मैं मार्कर देखता हूँ, अगर यूज कर सकता हूँ तो ये अगर आप देख पा रहे हैं ग्रीन कलर का, तो ये एक छोटी सी मोटर लगी हुई है, ये वाइब्रेटर लगा हुआ है। तो ये क्या करता है कि उतने छोटे से एयर के प्रेशर से भी, क्योंकि वाइब्रेटर लगा हुआ है, तो कॉटन अपने आप ऊपर मूव करने लग जाती है। तो ये एक हमने प्रिंसिपल यूज किया था बहुत ज्यादा आइडिएशन करने के बाद। जो मैं आपको बता रहा था, जो आइडिएशन प्रोसेस होते हैं जिसमें बहुत टाइम लगता है वो करने के अंदर, वो उसके बाद में हमने ये सोल्यूशन निकाला था। ओवरऑल हम इसको एक अच्छा प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च नहीं कर पाए, उसके कमर्शियल रीजन कुछ और थे। लेकिन मैं आपको ये सिर्फ बताना चाह रहा था कि ये ओवरऑल सोल्यूशन हमें तभी निकल पाया क्योंकि हमने इसका आइडिएशन बहुत स्ट्रांगली किया था। देखिए कॉटन कितने आसानी से ऊपर जा रही है, कोई इसमें वैक्यूम नहीं है। सोचिए एक 12 वोल्ट की बैटरी के साथ छोटा सा फैन इसको ऊपर लेके जा पा रहा है। ये जो रिजल्ट है ये डिजाइन प्रोसेस का है। ये मैं आपको प्रोडक्ट स्किप करूंगा। ये देखिए एप्रिकॉट को हार्वेस्ट करने के लिए हमने एक सोल्यूशन बनाया था। इसमें वाइब्रेटर, कॉम वाइब्रेटर होता है। फिंगर्स की तरह जैसे अपन ऐसे निकालते हैं वैसे ही ये भी फ्रूट को हार्वेस्ट कर लेता है। ये सीबक थोन का है। ये वीडियो में कुछ प्रॉब्लम है। ये वाइब्रेटर है, वाइब्रेशंस का कुछ और प्रिंसिपल यूज करके उसको वाइब्रेट करके निकाल लेते हैं। ये ग्रेडिंग सॉर्टिंग का ये मैं स्किप करता हूँ। आई थिंक आई stop here. There are a lot of other innovations which we have, but I think I would like to talk more about the questions, and I would like to answer them so that we can talk more about design thinking, and if there are any more doubts on this. Megha, are you there?
Yes. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so should we go ahead with the questions?
Yeah, let's proceed for the questions. I'll unmute them one by one so they can ask their question. We have Ankur as well on the call with us from Pusa Krishi. So Ankur would be handling this Q&A session with you.
Okay, sure.
Hi, Nitin. So Nitin will be taking Sharad now. I will be unmuting him. By then, all of you can write down your questions in the chat box. Yes.
Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Nitin, thank you for the insights on the various innovations and solving problems of, or I would say, very minuscule level of farmers. I don't know whether they can afford or buy it. And being a seasonal, it is very challenging to buy and keep it for a year with them. That
Right.
was one challenge all you face. And one of the important innovation, what I was very impressed about the cotton picker, the cotton picker, as you rightly mentioned, that is still not successful. What are the challenges you are facing? And in a day, for per labor, how much he can pick it up?
So thanks. I'll answer this question. I just want to put a comment here. Although I'll be very happy to talk about these innovations and their insights, but I think it will be much more useful for everybody to have more questions on the design thinking. The process is more important than these products. But I'll answer the question which you have asked. तो क्वेश्चन जो आपने पूछा है वो ये है कि पर डे वो कॉटन कितनी हार्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं, ठीक है, और क्या क्या चैलेंजेस है जिसके कारण वो सक्सेसफुल नहीं हुआ, क्या राइट?
Yes.
हाँ, तो are you comfortable with the Hindi so that others can also understand?
Both way I am comfortable, not an issue. English, Hindi, Marathi, any language.
Yeah, so शरद जी उसमें ऐसा है कि कॉटन को हार्वेस्ट करने के लिए ये एक ऐसी प्रॉब्लम है जो काफी टाइम से अटेम्प्ट की जा रही है और बहुत सारे लोग इस पे काम कर चुके हैं और मेरे ख्याल से हमारा तो काम मैं हमेशा इस बात पे को कहता हूँ कि हम हर एक वो चीज जानते हैं जो कॉटन में काम नहीं करती है, तो इसका मतलब हमने वो हर चीज कर ली है जो कॉटन में काम नहीं करती है। वो काम क्यों नहीं करती है वो उस पर अपन बात करते हैं। कॉटन हार्वेस्टिंग का जो प्रोसीजर है वो बहुत ही कॉम्प्लेक्स है। उसमें ये है कि फार्मर को पहले उनको जाके लेके आना पड़ता है। लेबर कॉस्ट से ज्यादा उसमें लेबर मैनेजमेंट का इशू है। अगर हम हैंड टूल्स की बात कर रहे हैं, अगर हम हैंड टूल से उसको अगर सॉल्व करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं तो हमने इसके ऊपर इकोनॉमिक्स, इसकी यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स और इसकी टाइम की वैल्यू सारी निकाल ली। अगर एक आदमी सिर्फ उसको हाथ लगाता हुआ भी जाता है तब भी वो एक नॉर्मल लेबर से मैक्सिमम 2 या 2.5 गुना से ज्यादा उसको हार्वेस्ट नहीं कर सकता है कॉटन को। ये एक सच है, ठीक है। तो एक फार्मर के लिए अगर वो 10 लेबर बुला रहा है बजाय कि 5 लेबर बुला रहा है, उसके लिए कोई बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस नहीं आ रहा है, क्योंकि उसके लिए 5 लेबर के लिए उसको फिर से मशीन भी लेके आनी पड़ेगी, वो 5 मशीनें भी लानी पड़ेंगी, उसको चार्ज भी करना पड़ेगा, उसके लिए एक सही नई सिरदर्दी ले रहे हैं। तो जो हमारा एक्सपीरियंस है उसमें ये है कि अगर हम मैनुअल लेबर से एटलीस्ट 5 या 6 गुना तक लेके जा सकते हैं तभी वो सक्सेसफुल हो सकती है। फिर आप चार्ज भी कर सकते हो जो आप चार्ज करना चाहो। ये एक हो गया एक एस्पेक्ट। दूसरा एस्पेक्ट ये है उसकी जो ऑल्टरनेटिव क्रॉप्स है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल जो मैं अपने फील्ड के बारे में जानता हूँ, अपने एरिया के बारे में जानता हूँ, राजस्थान पंजाब के अंदर, मेनली राजस्थान में, वहां पर इसकी जो दूसरी ऑल्टरनेट क्रॉप है वो है गवार, ठीक है। गवार को ग्रो करने के बाद में उसकी हार्वेस्टिंग कंबाइन से हो जाती है, तो वो एक टेंशन नहीं है फार्मर को। अभी क्या इकोनॉमिक से ज्यादा इसमें इशू जो हो जाते हैं वो मैनेजमेंट के इश्यूज है। आप इतने बड़े फार्म को, मतलब कि हर कोई एक जॉइंट फैमिलीज में नहीं है, आप न्यूक्लियर फैमिलीज है, छोटी छोटी फैमिलीज है, उसको मैनेज करना मुश्किल हो रहा है। तो अल्टीमेटली व्हाट पीपल आर, एटलीस्ट व्हाट माय एक्सपीरियंस इज, until otherwise you are giving extra benefit to the farmer। अगर मैं मैंगो पिकर यूज कर रहा हूँ, मेरा अगर मैंगो पिकर यूज करके आप मैंगो हार्वेस्ट करते हो तो आपको प्रोडक्टिविटी सेम ही मिलेगी, लेकिन क्योंकि वो डंडी के साथ में हार्वेस्ट होगा तो आपको 20% एक्स्ट्रा प्रॉफिट मिलने वाला है। इसमें आप मशीन से हार्वेस्ट करो, बंदे से हार्वेस्ट करो, बहुत ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला। हाँ, आपका ट्रैश कम हो जाएगा, लेकिन वो ट्रैश, क्योंकि इसका जो वैल्यू चेन है वो इतना कॉम्प्लेक्स है कि पहले वो जाएगा एक एजेंट के पास, एजेंट से जिनिंग मिल के पास, जिनिंग मिल से स्पिनिंग मिल के पास। तो जो क्लीन कॉटन का जो बेनिफिट है वो स्पिनिंग मिल को है, लेकिन स्पिनिंग मिल वो पूरे वैल्यू चेन में नीचे तक वो पैसा ट्रांसफर नहीं कर सकती। तो मशीन हार्वेस्टिंग का जो एक्स्ट्रा बेनिफिट मिलने वाला है वो फार्मर को कभी नहीं मिलेगा। तो एक ही बेनिफिट हम उसको दे सकते हैं कि या उसकी लेबर कॉस्ट को कम कर सकते हैं। लेबर कॉस्ट तब कम हो सकती है जब हम मैनुअल लेबर से एटलीस्ट 5 गुना तक ज्यादा हार्वेस्ट कर सकें। सो दिस इज व्हाट आवर अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज। Maybe it is limited, and maybe that is why we never got successful in cotton.
Sorry, I mean I am not an expert like you. But like if a boom placer can be placed for 4 or 5 lines, normally it is in the lines when we sow seeds, right?
Yeah.
And if we put a boom placer at one place and it can pick up, move around the tree, so that probably that may bring some effectivity. That's what I, because this is a very challenging situation. I have got about 40 odd acre field, and we sow maximum cotton. And the challenge of picking it up is the almost it takes 20% of the cost.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, the problem, the more the challenging problem is, more rewarding it is. So maybe, you know, I cannot answer this directly because, you know, we have moved more towards.
But I am excited to know if you can do some further improvements. Please do let us know.
Sure, definitely. Yeah. Any next question, please?
I'll take Akhilesh question now.
Yeah.
Nitin, we are getting questions in chat box as well. So we'll try to answer these questions soon. Then we'll go for chat box. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I'm audible.
Hello.
अखिलेश आपकी आवाज बहुत कट रही है, आप टाइप कर दीजिए एक बार चैट बॉक्स में। अखिलेश आपकी आवाज बहुत कट रही है, आप चैट बॉक्स में टाइप कर दीजिए, आपका क्वेश्चन चैट बॉक्स ले लेंगे, ठीक है?
हेलो
अखिलेश आवाज कट रही है, मैं म्यूट कर रहा हूँ आपको, आप चैट बॉक्स में लिख दीजिए अपना क्वेश्चन।
अखिलेश जी, आप चैट बॉक्स में मुझे अपना मैसेज टाइप कर दीजिए, मैं आपका पढ़ के आपको आंसर करूंगा। एक मेरे को डू यू वांट टू रीड आउट दिस क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम द चैट बॉक्स और आर वी
I'll read out Nitin, don't worry. So we'll take Anil Rana. Anil,
yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Nitin.
yeah, good afternoon.
I'm Anil Rana. I'm a farmer from Himachal Pradesh, district Una. Basically, there were some problems being faced by fish farmers. And namely, first was the feed. Fish feed was not available. For as a solution for that, I've set up a feed mill over here, a mini feed mill. And the second problem that was being faced was in terms of selling the fish. Now the contractors who came to buy the fish, they were not giving good rates, and the farmers were kind of quitting fish farming. So I did a little bit a different marketing approach so that I could sell better. But then again, I see that value addition to the fish product. There's a lot of difference. If you look for a plate in the wholesale, if you sell it, it sells at around 600 rupees a kg, whereas the fish goes around 100, 120, 150 rupees kg. So there's a lot of difference. Okay. For that, I've even taken training from CIFT, Central Institute of Fisheries Technology, okay, at Kochi, for processing. Now my question is, to do this, we need to have a processing unit. So have you done any innovation, or have you worked on, has your company worked on processing part of it? I mean, food processing?
We have not worked on the fish processing ever. In general food processing, the first primary processing, which we call is grading. That we have done. In fact, we got a lot of problems on grading of the fishes, grading of the fishes based on the size. So that is something which we have just explored, but otherwise we have very limited knowledge and experience on the food processing side.
Because the main thing in the processing is, scaling, descaling, and slicing. So if something we can, I can talk to you, or maybe we can work out on that.
So what we can do is, maybe I'll leave my email address. So we can connect one-to-one on this problem, and we can see, if, as I told you, how we check it is like, it should be desirable, it should be viable, and it should be, technically feasible. If it is meeting all these criteria, we will definitely solve it, sir.
Because under the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, there is a provision, the government is giving subsidy on such units, and I think there should be this demand side could be there.
Definitely, sir. We will talk one-to-one on this, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'll take Meenal then. We'll go for chat box then.
Nitin, hi, this is Vivek. I'm co-founder with Meenal. So my question is, I'm looking at your website, and we were really curious to see if you have documented the design thinking process for any of the product that you've shown. It will be really great study material to go through such a live, case study that follows the method that is given in book.
Yeah, hi Vivek. Good question. We have not published it, but we do have some of the documents, and actually we are going to publish it with the IIC Bangalore, which was my alma mater. So, but if you want to, actually access any of the projects which are done at IIC Bangalore under CPDM, so all those are under public publication only. So you can get a copy of even my project from IIC. So if you go to CPDM website, which is the Center for Product Design and Manufacturing, so all our products are actually in the public review. So there are a lot of agricultural products using this design thinking process are there. So with a very detailed documentation. So that is something which you can use.
I see. So is it like, I'm just searching that website, is it CPDA? Does that?
It's called cpdm.isc.ac.in. I think this should be the website.
Yeah, maybe I'm typing, but yeah, if you could type or give it there. But yes, exactly. This is something I was looking for then.
Yeah, so you can get it from IIC. Yeah, this is exactly what I said. cpdm.isc.ac.in. You can contact CPDM and they will give you, I mean, they have to give you because it is a public institute, and you can get all our projects there.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you. So in chat box, Bharat is asking, sir, now any progress in improvement of cotton pickers? It needs OT time.
Yeah, so that I think I've already answered in the cotton picker, right? So maybe you can do the next.
Could you briefly elaborate how did you apply design thinking and apple sorting processing?
In apple sorting process?
Yes, sir, apple sorting processing.
Yeah, so when we apply design thinking, so I'll just give you some of the challenges which we saw and how we solved it briefly. So this was one problem which was given to us by the apple growers when we were selling them the apple harvesting device. So what farmers came to us with the problem was they have a lot of apples, and they when they bring it to the pack house, so there in the pack house what they have is they have mechanical grading machines. So where they have like a trapezoidal shape with the gap increasing over the length, and they put the apples in that in a conveyor belt, and based on their different sizes, so they get separated, and then there are packers who are standing there manually and they are packing it. So what they're doing is while they are packing, they check what is the color percentage. So if it is more red, they will keep it aside. Then if it is less red, they will pack it. So based on that, size grading you have done, but the color grading, you're doing it manually. So what happens is, so that becomes the bottleneck of the whole operation, you see. No matter what is the capacity of your machine. So ultimately the color grading is being done manually. And then this was one problem, right? So this was a problem which was given to us. Then we did deep down. We went to, labors. We asked them, okay, how do you do it? We stood there, we made a lot of videos. you know what interesting thing we came out with? So the interesting problem, another aspect of the problem was that if the farmer tells the labor to pack apples which are 60% red, he just gives a number which is this should be 60% red, but my perception of 60% is very different from the other person. So person to person, that perception also differs. So ultimately, so the two people who are packing, so their packing will be different. And how this pricing of the apples are decided, so they will pack everything, they'll pack all the boxes, they will take it to the mandi, they will sell those boxes, right? So when they're selling, so the Artiya will take only one, the trader will take out one box and he will open that box and he will see how is the grading quality. Based on that, he will give the price of the complete lot. So imagine if one box is badly packed, so all your the prices of your whole lot is now spoiled. So this information we came to know from the trader. So this is what we did. I mean, while applying the design thinking process, so we did study. So we found when we met a lot of all the stakeholders, then we found out what exactly should be required. So what we came out, the solution, the first solution which we came out was, let the mechanical machines be there. We made a retrofit model where we could do the color grading, just the color grading on the machine. So where it could separate into two colors and then the mechanical grading, let it be there. So we removed that bottleneck and we made that consistency. So this is how we solve this problem using design thinking. And of course, the 5-step design process remains same. I've given you the crux and the insights, what all things were considered.
So another question from Jayakumar. Could there be a possibility that there is no identified problem at all, but there are solutions that can make life more simple in terms of cost or profit or risk for farmer, which he may not of at all?
Yeah, I mean, there could be many, sometime, for example, let's say the mobile, if you talk about, right? When the mobile phone came, I know a lot of fishermen in Tamil Nadu, how much they were benefited. So they will go down, they'll go to the sea, they will catch the fishes, and then on the boat itself, their price will be fixed. Earlier, they used to come down to the cost, so there it will be priced. So imagine that, it was because they caught a good catch. They would call, they will send the photos, and on the boat itself, their material is sold. So this was the mobile phones came not to solve this problem, right? But the application came like this, the people, it solved their problem. WhatsApp solved their problem. So there could be many. I mean, it is not that, the great products can only come out from this process. But yes, this process helps you if you're building a product, keeping a problem in the mind. Yeah, maybe we can.
Yeah, so book and all, we have already shared everything. Do you have solution for packaging, storage, bird scaring, and crop protection for animals? Animals here must be contaminating cotton.
Animals must be contaminating cotton.
Animal hairs must be contaminating cotton.
Okay.
This is
okay. We have a lot of solutions as I talk about the before harvesting. So we have solutions for crop protection. In crop protection, we have various kind of traps where the flying insects or the sucking insects can be trapped. We have a lot of weeding devices, very wonderful weeding devices, very effective devices we have for various soil types, various crops types, manual, all handheld weeding devices. So those are the solutions we have. I don't know what exactly, if you have any specific problem, maybe you can look at our website, hectare.in. So there you'll get the list of all the products. We don't have a very large portfolio. I'll tell you what, we do not want to be the largest producer. We want to be the most innovative company. So, but the kind of products which we have are very innovative in the nature, and that is what our portfolio is. I'll just type it on this chat box. You can see our website, and if you have any specific need, there is a provision given in the website itself, or you can write to me directly. We can work on that problem one-to-one.
Do you have anything for pulses picking?
No, we don't have. We don't generally we don't work on the field crops. We work on the horticulture crops majorly, fruits and vegetables.
Akhilesh ने अपना क्वेश्चन टाइप किया है. What's this design thinking for integrating farm system? How it can be more profitable? What's the design thinking for organic product marketing and farmers?
So I want to mention here, जो design thinking है वो एक कोई ऐसा defined process नहीं है. डिजाइन थिंकिंग एक टाइप की थिंकिंग ही है. अगर मैं उसको एक बड़ी क्लियर भाषा में बोलना चाहूँ कि अगर मेरे को यहाँ से लेके और एयरपोर्ट तक जाना है तो वो भी मेरी एक प्रॉब्लम है, उसको मैं डिजाइन थिंकिंग से सॉल्व कर सकता हूँ. इट इज ए प्रोसेस. उसको आप कहीं पे भी कैसे भी इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं. आपने जो ये क्वेश्चन पूछा कि इसको कैसे, उसके लिए क्या है ये, मतलब कि ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट्स के लिए या मार्केटिंग के लिए, मैं आपको ये कोई डिफाइंड नहीं है कि इसके लिए क्या होगा. मैं आपको इंसाइट दे सकता हूँ कि आप कैसे स्टार्ट कर सकते हो. इसमें आपको प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफिकेशन करनी है कि आपकी प्रॉब्लम क्या है. अगर आप कोई मार्केटिंग की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करना चाह रहे हो ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट्स की, तो फॉर एग्जांपल आप प्रॉब्लम के लिए आप उन सभी लोगों से रीच आउट करोगे जो ऑर्गेनिक के कस्टमर्स हैं या फिर जो ऑर्गेनिक बेचते हैं या स्टोर्स हैं. वो आपको बताएंगे कि प्रॉब्लम कहाँ पर उनको आती है बेचने में. मैं भी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहा हूँ मार्केटिंग ऑफ ऑर्गेनिक प्रोड्यूस इन इंडिया. ठीक है, तो उसके बाद में आप मीडिया से बात करोगे कोई कि वो उनका पर्सपेक्टिव क्या है. ठीक है, तो ये आप पहले समझोगे, उसके बाद में आप डिफाइन करोगे कि हमें रीच आउट क्या करना है, मार्केटिंग हमारा गोल क्या है, हमें कितने लोगों को पहुंचाना है ये मार्केटिंग का अपना जो भी आपका प्रोडक्ट है उसका मैसेज. उसकी आप उनकी इनकम देखोगे, वो कहाँ पर रहते हैं, वो क्या क्या करते हैं, उनके रेलेवेंट और क्या क्या चीजें करते हैं. जो ऑर्गेनिक वाले करने वाले हैं मे बी वो स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ से भी ज्यादा जुड़े हुए हैं, तो ये मे बी शायद ये भी एक रीजन हो सकता है कि जो स्पिरिचुअल गुरु है वो उनके ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट्स भी आते हैं. तो इस तरीके के आप सोल्यूशन निकालने लगोगे. तो ये एक बहुत ही जेनेरिक सोल्यूशन है. ये कोई इसको हम डिफाइन नहीं कर सकते हैं कि ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट्स के लिए क्या होगा. ये आपके ऊपर है, आप उसको जैसे इंप्लीमेंट करना चाहिए आप उसको करिए, लेकिन आप जरूर पढ़िए इसके बारे में. डिजाइन टूल किट बाई I'll just try to find out while we are discussing. I'll send you the link of a very good read from Stanford Design School on this 5-step design process. Yeah, we can go ahead.
Yes, Nathan, sorry, my mic got time. So are there any specific criteria for type of questions to ask? The question is asking, okay. Ek second. I think they have finished all the queries till now. Can I collaborate? Can I collaboration with you? Akhilesh is asking, can I collaborate with you?
Yeah, definitely. Why not? We can have all kind of collaboration. So if you want to share your problems, or if you want us to work with you on
how to do that,
so you can write to me. I'll send you a email address. I'm just typing out. So I have just 6-page Stanford's book I have sent here. I urge everybody to read this, and I'm also typing my email address. So if anybody wants to get in touch with me, you can get in touch. Sure.
Niharika has raised her hand.
Yeah.
I have unmuted.
Hello, this is Lakhan from Niharika's team. Am I audible?
Yeah, hi, Lakhan. Please go ahead. Yeah, you're audible.
Hi, very good afternoon, and really would appreciate the whole knowledge you have shared. It is enlightening. My question is around the subjectivity of the process, that while I'm design thinking, I'm empathizing at the first step with the consumer or the who is having the problem. So how do I cut out my own bias? So I may think that okay, this is the real problem, and the guy is saying that harvesting is the problem. Suppose example, but the root cause might be that seedlings are not good. So how do you, any examples, any of your like experience on finding the real root cause in terms of getting to know the problem better?
It's a very good question, and thank you for asking this. I missed this point. See, what happens is this is something which you're going to face if you're going to follow it really well. People will ask you a lot of things, and this is why the second process is the define process, where you synthesize all this information. In the first process, you're just collecting. So they will tell you a lot of things. So when you go there, I remember in the cotton picker, people used to tell me, उसमें FM radio भी डाल दो, उसमें light भी डाल दो, उसमें ये भी डाल दो, उनको सब कुछ चाहिए उसमें, right? So yes. What happens is when you actually make your prototype and when you test it, when you're testing it, we always do a commercial test. हम उसका पैसा लेते हैं. So when a person is paying, then he'll give you the real feedback. Okay, so a lot of these things will go away. Okay, so all this noise then will not be there. You will be able to clear your mind. Second second example I want to give you. So we were working in Jammu and Kashmir, where the government gave us a problem statement, and the problem statement said like this: provide us solar dryer for saffron. Okay, so this is what the problem was given to us. And so they kept on saying, you give us the solar dryer for saffron. So the question we asked is, why do you need a solar dryer? They said, no, give us a solar dryer. So I said, okay, fine, let us go. And we went to Pulwama. There is a lot of villages. We went and we spoke to them. What the findings were really, really, really opposite. So saffron is harvested in the time of November, when there is no sun.
Okay.
Temperatures are 11 to 12 degrees in that area. And there is electricity available in all the villages. So you see that, the information which was being given to us was very different. Until otherwise, until we went to meet all those people, we went to meet all those farmers, a lot of other stakeholders, agriculture scientists, and then we understood what is the problem. And you will see that, the pattern you will start seeing. Even today, after working in cotton for the largest time of my career, even if I go to the cotton fields, I'll get to learn something new today also. It's a vast, that is why it is iterative process. It keeps on increasing, it keeps changing. But that's okay. It will keep changing. You keep that mind open, that you accept it, that, it is going to change in the future. That's okay. But once you clear one cycle, you will know what is right and what is wrong.
Fair. Thank you so much. I have one more question. If you allow, I'll go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead. We have a lot of time.
So it's basically based on prototyping. So I'll give you a brief background what we are doing. So we are making IoT-based automatic hydroponic solutions and majorly optimizing the hydroponics. At time of making the prototype, we did this feasibility analysis, and we know that it has to be a low-cost thing. Most of the farms don't have Wi-Fi or electricity stability, so it doesn't make sense to launch that in India. So we are de-teching it or down-teching it. Like in terms of making a prototype, is there any key tips that you need to keep in mind while even testing it, paid or unpaid versions? How do you come into feedback loop, and how to lean that whole process to come into a feedback loop and improve it faster?
Yeah, so this is one learning which we have got from my ISC times is what we do is we don't test the complete product. We test different concepts. Let's say, if I'm talking about harvesting of, let's say your hydroponics itself, if we take an example. So maybe you will have some pumping systems, you will have some, communication devices, right? So I don't know what all modules you have, but what I would do is I would test all those individual parts, okay, in a lab environment, not the complete solution. And once I'm clear on individual parts, then only I'll go for the complete prototype with the integrated approach, and then I'll go for the testing. Well, that reduces the cost of development. In your case, it might be a little difficult because one step is attached to other one, and so.
Yes,
but
and the inputs are low since there are a lot less people doing it today. So on field testing, real inputs are quite less. So the tech which is future oriented, I think that's more tougher. Or would you suggest to go with today's real world problem and then maybe later on climb on to hydroponics automation? Could be jab time comes up.
That's what I always, I have a personal bias. Okay, I have personal bias, so always working on a problem. So if you are saying that there are very few people to give you the feedback, maybe the very few people who are facing this problem.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So maybe you need to see if the problem, the user, which I say desirability, right? The first important point. So whether it is desired or not. Maybe it is desired for very few people, and on those people you cannot create a sustainable business. So maybe you find a better problem to work on.
Fair. Thank you so much.
I don't know. Okay, I'm not judging. I'm just saying based on.
No. But just I'm general discussion on mindset, that how to set a mindset. But yeah, it's really insightful. Maybe the only takeaway is to gather more data and make sense and balance out of that data between what you want to serve and what is demanded. So yeah, really insightful. Thank you.
Yeah,
thanks a lot.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you, Sumit.
Yeah. Thanks, Nitinji. It was a wonderful session and it was very innovative. And I'm very happy that the companies like you are working for the farmers of India. And it's very good that products that you have introduced. Well, my just curiosity that has come from this, that are you have any DSIR recognition also, because you have a good R&D in your company? So have you approached for the DSIR?
So we have, we had thought about getting this DSIR recognition, but it was not very helpful to us because, until otherwise you have some certain funds and all you have to get, then only it makes sense. And sort of R&D, what we do is more of a product design, and generally it is not considered basic sciences. So the R&D, which is more, I would say, defined by DSIR system, is where you are working on basic sciences rather than tangible products. And it is, I would not say it is a science research. It is more of a technology-based design process. So we did not fall there. I mean, it can be done. If we have to go, we can get it done. But it did not make sense to us. That's why we didn't go.
No, I mean, because the new foreign trade policy that is expected in the next year in March, that is going to give more benefit for the companies who are doing a real R&D.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes. So if you want, I can help you in that. So
yeah, please. I'll be very thankful if you can, give me more information on that. I'll be connecting you separately.
Thank you.
I think Sumit has asked question. Is there any other question to ask? We have taken all chat box questions and all hand raises are finished. Is there any question you can ask? Otherwise, we can wrap up the session.
Any other question, anyone? So I think we should wrap up the session now. Thank you so very much, Nitin, for joining today's session, and thanks a lot for your valuable insights on the topic.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for joining, everyone. See you on Monday. That is 13th. Also, we'll be sending you an email regarding the feedback. So all of you are requested to kindly fill it up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Thanks a lot for joining. अभी भी वेटिंग रूम में लोग क्यों हैं इसमें?
ले लो।